Welcome to @Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you, watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Let's get a refresh on the top Arizona news of the week.
Hurricane Matthew devastated Haiti, killing nearly 1,000 people. Now, a Fountain Hills pastor is uniting his community to help the children of Haiti, thousands of miles away. Jesse Canales reports how, despite suffering from a physical disease, he says nothing will stop him from meeting the children he looks to help.
The impoverished nation of Haiti has been devastated by natural disasters, and the recent outbreak of cholera further added to the Haitian suffering. Fountain Hills Presbyterian Church pastor Ken Brown started working with local charity organizations to help after hearing about the children of Lakai.
360 kids starving in Haiti seems like something that we could do something about.
Pastor Brown, Free the Kids, and the Kiwanis Club organized a trip to visit Haiti and see the devastation for themselves to help motivate the community to donate.
The entire time that we're trying to raise these funds, those kids are going to be imprinted on my mind, and it'll just continue to drive us forward.
Pastor Brown, too, is suffering. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease a year ago.
I haven't wanted to let Parkinson's disease stop me from doing what I do in my life.
He learned of the children from one of the church members, Jack Reynolds, who happens to be one of the founders of Free the Kids, a charity organization that's been helping the children of Haiti since 1998. Drawing from his experience witnessing the devastation for the first time, Reynolds says he has some idea of what they will feel when they arrive.
Emotional. Tears were shed daily. It was very, very sad situation. How you ask, how can God have people living like this?
The trip to Haiti was meant to be made last week, but a surge of violence made conditions unsafe. They say they will instead leave in January. In Fountain Hills, Jessica Canales, Cronkite News.
To learn how you can help or to make a donation, you can go to freethekids.org.
Farms in Arizona are shrinking. According to the USDA Census of Agriculture, Arizona farmland has steadily declined for the past 20 years. As Allison Hoskins reports, the allure of money from selling or just the struggle to keep the farm going are causing farmers to decide sell off parts of their land or shut down completely.
The Kerr family has been farming in Arizona since the 1940s. They started near Tempe, but as the city began to develop, they moved across the valley to the more rural Buckeye. Over the years, they've shut down 2 of their 4 farms.
I was at the stage where farming and my dairy either needed to grow or get out. And it was to the point that I was just ready to get out.
David Kerr says Phoenix used to have some of the most fertile farmland, but developments have forced farms to relocate to the edges of the valley.
Trouble is, we're being pushed out into areas where water is actually a shortage. The farm ground's not as good. It's desert land that's being converted into farms.
According to the Arizona Farm Bureau, most farms in Maricopa County are less than 10 acres, but dairy is still Arizona's leading agricultural product. One Kerr farmer says smaller can be better.
When you look at the data, back in 1940, in the United States, there was 26 million dairy cows. Today, there's less than 9 million dairy cows. And with those 9 million dairy cows, we're producing more than twice the amount of milk that they had with 26 million dairy cows.
Wes Kerr, David's nephew, said there are many reasons for better efficiency.
The combination between better feed, better animals, better genetics, and then the environment that we get to keep the animals in. With all that efficiency, we need less cows to produce more milk.
Jerry Kerr sold his dairy and now works for the Department of Agriculture. He's also seen decrease in land and crops from Casa Grande to the Colorado River.
Oh, it's definitely decreased. When I started with the organization I'm with now, there were almost 300,000 acres of cotton. This year I had 43,000.
While farmland is shrinking, farming is a lifestyle that's hard to leave.
You talk to any farmer and he would probably tell you the same things I'm telling you. It's just a matter of fact type thing. I don't know anything else and don't want to.
Our state has a rich history of farming and ranching. They're even part of the state's 5 C's: cotton, cattle, climate, citrus, and copper. Live in downtown Phoenix, Allison Hoskins, Cronkite News.
Some bakeries across Arizona are busy this time of year, making a special Day of the Dead bread. The holiday honors relatives who have passed away. Yesenia Beltran joins us to explain the significance of the bread.
Dia de los Muertos has roots in Mexico, but it's growing in popularity in Arizona. Some people gather in cemeteries to remember their family members, and others put up altars in their homes. And there's also a special holiday bread. As we speak, people are lining up to buy pan de muerto. It takes a team of bakers working extra hours to prepare pan de muerto. They sell about 800 Day of the Dead breads on November 2nd alone.
Tiene clase de todos americanos.
Lead baker and manager Jorge Romero says all types of people come in to buy the bread, not just Latinos. The bread is made from a special egg dough in a round shape with crisscross strips of dough forming bones and a skull in the center. This is the bread before it's all put together. Each part of the bread represents one part of the dead person's body. You'll have to let it sit for 3 hours before baking. It's baked in 310 degrees Fahrenheit, and after 4 hours, the result is this.
Exquisito pan, sinceramente.
Lourdes Sarabia de Olivas drove an hour and 15 minutes from Florence to West Phoenix to pick up her bread.
Since childhood, it was instilled in me that this was a special day to be reunited with your loved ones.
This time of year, the faithful believe the spirits of the dead return to celebrate with their families. The holiday is actually 2 days. November 1st is to remember children who have died, and November 2nd is for adults who have passed away. Yesenia Beltran, Cronkite News.
Halloween and ghost stories have always gone hand in hand, and even though we're a younger city, we still have our share of spirits. Cronkite News reporter Daniel Kernkamp visited one location in Phoenix that's filled with spooky history.
The Orpheum Theater in Phoenix was built in 1929, and some believe that it holds more than just history.
There's something here, a presence.
The theater puts on ghost tours each year around Halloween, guided by Joe Atreides.
We've had ghosts show up during rehearsals and even performances, where performers on the stage have been interrupted.
Dr. Gary Schwartz is a professor at the University of Arizona and has been studying spirits and the paranormal for 15 years. He says there's truth to these ghost stories.
People can, to various degrees, accept that. But it becomes harder for people to believe that not only can you speak with your deceased grandmother or deceased son, but you might be able to speak with Albert Einstein.
Both Atreides and Schwartz say they didn't believe in spirits until they saw evidence, and some evidence has been captured inside the Orpheum.
The security person was up on the balcony and took a picture of those windows just to see the rain coming down and on her phone, and when she looked at it, there was the most scary picture of a woman.
We're not trying to convince anyone of anything. Sometimes you just gotta say, I've seen dead people.
At the Orpheum in Phoenix, Danielle Kernkamp, Cronkite News.
The ghost tours at the Orpheum take up to a full hour to complete. The money raised from the ghost tours goes to the organization Friends of the Orpheum to provide community outreach and keep the theater in good condition.
Allegations of election rigging have been a common trend this election season, leading to the question, can this actually happen? 1.2 million early ballots have been cast, and people are left wondering if their vote will count.
That is really the best lie that those who don't want you to vote will tell you. Because when you don't vote, that means someone else who does has a more powerful voice and a more powerful vote. You're empowering those who actually show up to the polls when you don't vote.
The Arizona Advocacy Network trains their volunteers to be on the lookout for any suspicious activity.
So our volunteers are there to, again, just help people to vote.
When it comes to the likelihood of an election rigging,
there's not going to be any voter fraud. This is just fear mongering because they don't want people to vote.
Nothing is ever impossible, but it is
the way that our elections are set up in the United States, it's highly, highly improbable that any sort of rigging could happen.
One emotional motivator causes these rumors to circulate.
Fear is very powerful, and it can make people do crazy things.
The best way to fight back.
But we want everybody to vote. So, you know, we don't forecast elections here. So we literally just want to see as many people vote as possible.
I encourage everyone, be smarter than that. Don't believe those terrible lies. Vote and please vote down the ballot.
In order for any sort of statistically significant rigging to take place, you would have to rig a lot of counties. So it's extremely, extremely improbable.
If you haven't mailed your early ballot yet, you may want to drop it off at an early voting location. Postal delivery is taking longer than normal. You can check the status of your early ballot on the county recorder's website.
Groups of Native Americans face some issues when trying to cast their vote. Dylan Eddy in our Washington Bureau looks into what is being done to help this part of the Arizona population.
It's hard to give poll workers your street address when you have no street. This is one problem that Native Americans face when casting their vote, according to voter watchdogs at Election Protection. Experts say one of the issues they've seen in Native voters has been the confusion over lack of traditional addresses.
Many Native voters live in rural communities with non-traditional addresses, and it's really the job of poll workers to understand that there are different procedures for Native voters, and when they do come to the polls with identification with non-traditional addresses, that they need to be following those procedures.
That's not the only miscommunication. Sometimes poll workers and Native voters aren't speaking the same language. Literally.
Native Americans who might speak an indigenous language, we kind of get questions about how that could impact them voting and if there's election materials available in those languages.
By setting up a number of resources both at the polls and through hotline services, the committee is devoted to solving these issues.
We've been partnering with folks on the ground, including the Indian Law Clinic, which is led by Patty Ferguson Bonney, who's a law professor at the Arizona State University, and they're running a Native Vote program on Election Day.
The committee is also partnering with the Native Vote Hotline, offering voting resources in different Native American languages. The way to reach this hotline is by calling 1-866-OUR-VOTE and asking to speak with a native language interpreter. The Election Protection Hotline and Native Voter Services will be open from now until November 8th at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Reporting from Washington, Dylan Eddy, Cronkite News.
In the final week of campaigning, both parties continue to buy more TV ads. While some may find the increasing number of ads annoying, two artists see these ads as a political art project. Joey Carrera introduces us to the artists.
In 1984, artists Antonio Montadas and Marshall Reese sifted through archives of retro political ads. It was the start of their ever-evolving project that includes footage from more than 60 years ago.
A catchy melody and a simple message. That's how political ads used to be. Each election cycle, as the times and issues change, artists Anthony Montadas and Marshall Reese capture the political promises from the airwaves and add them to their art project.
So what a person sees over time is the evolution of the image, how the image changes, and also the evolution of the ideas.
ASU Art Museum Director Gordon Knox says the unbiased presentation of the political art project puts voters in the right frame of mind.
The correct political choice in this for this state really will come from the policies and not from the propaganda.
Compared to those of yesteryear, the stark contrast of current political ads may just be in the presentation.
I mean, in a certain way, there's a stasis of ideas. I mean, things don't change that much in political life.
Here, the media is a protagonist.
But there are times when politicians were ahead of the curve.
The first ad of Jackie Kennedy in Spanish. To a Spanish community.
Other times, the message is repeated.
The 1964 LBJ ad, which is known as the Daisy ad, which is plays on the fears of nuclear annihilation.
The ad has been replicated notably by Bob Dole and more recently Hillary Clinton. Their 90-minute artistic vision is presented with simplicity, but compiled in a much deeper way.
They dive into all of that information with a ability to maneuver through intuition and innuendo, as opposed to having to go from fact and persuasion.
The compilation of campaign spots is making its way around the U.S. and even into Canada. Check cronkitenews.azpbs for some vintage snapshots. Joey Carrera, Cronkite News.
Chicago-based businesses in the Valley are reaping the benefits of the Cubs in the World Series for the first time in 71 years. Most restaurants have seen sold-out crowds throughout the team's postseason run. Reporter Giselle Cancio spoke to some of the businesses to learn how they're making Phoenix feel like Wrigley.
With the World Series tied at 1 game apiece, the Cubs return home to try to move closer to rewriting history. But Wrigley Field isn't the only place that will be overflowing with Cubs fans this weekend. Cubby Blue runs deep nearly 2,000 miles away here in the desert. Not surprising, considering Arizona was the top out-of-state relocation destination for Chicagoans from 2009 to 2013, according to Crane's Chicago Business.
Even when there's no baseball going on, people are coming in their jerseys just because they want us to know they're from Chicago.
And at Half Moon Windy City Sports Grill in Phoenix, it goes beyond fans just meeting up to watch America's pastime.
We get together, we sing the 7th inning stretch, we sing Go Cubs Go, we fly the W. We do all those things that everybody expects from back home. I've got $2 Old Style in a can every day, so you feel like you're back at Wrigley.
It's more than restaurants that are seeing an impact with the Cubs in the World Series. Sports merchandise stores like Flag World have had a tremendous sales increase in Cubs gear, including this Fly the W flag for its rich tradition at Wrigley Field.
We hope everybody carries one so it'll carry the Cubs through a World Series victory.
Even Chicago hot dog haven Portillo's has doubled its staff to process the larger than normal amount of takeout orders coming in on game days.
The biggest thing is that people come in here before the game starts and they'll take some takeout, so the entire family is eating Chicago Portillo's hot dogs.
Whether it's a deep dish pizza or an authentic Vienna beef hot dog, Chicago transplants are coming out in droves for a taste of home as they hope to witness the North Side team break a 108-year drought. In Phoenix, Giselle Cancio, Cronkite News.
A big high school rivalry is on the football field. It's set for this weekend as Marco Deniza takes on Tempe. And under the Friday night lights will be 17-year-old Kristen Muir. Reporter Blair McElroy found out how Kristen is taking on a very male-dominated world.
Marcos Deniza senior Kristen Muir isn't afraid to stand her ground on a male-dominated field. She's even got a personal foul to prove it.
I didn't want to show like, oh, I'm gonna let you guys hit me and me not do anything back. I was like, you can't do that.
The 17-year-old is the place kicker for the Marcos Deniza varsity football team. She is one of 5 female varsity football players in the state of Arizona. Muir made history last year, becoming the first girl in Arizona to play in a state championship football game. She finished the season with a total of 67 points and a 92% accuracy rate.
First, it was kind of hard for people to like take in, and they thought I was just out there just to be cute and stuff, or like to get the guys' numbers, which I could do that off the field.
During halftime at the Marcos Deniza versus Cactus Shadows game, Muir traded in her helmet for a crown when she was named homecoming queen.
Muir's love for the game extends way beyond her 2 seasons of playing. Dad Jeremy Muir, who is an assistant coach at Marcos Deniza, began coaching when she was just a child.
She was 4, she started out as a water girl, so she's always been around it.
I used to blow the whistle all the time with the guys, and they would hate it.
Coach Muir has learned to balance being a coach while also being a dad at home.
When she first decided that she wanted to come out saying, you know, you're not going to get any special treatment, you're not going to get the job just because you're my kid, you got to earn it, and you've got to make them respect you.
So, with graduation at the end of the school year, what's next for Kristen? According to Dad, it'll be whatever she goes after.
Once she sets her mind to something, she's all in.
I'm hardworking, and I'll keep going for what I want to do. I won't let anybody like push me down or anything, because I'll show them that I can do it, and I'll get right back up.
So far this season, she scored 39 points in 9 games. In Tempe, Blair McElroy, Cronkite News.
If kicking doesn't work out, Kristen says she plans on becoming an athletic or personal trainer.
The Suns open their season tonight at Talking Stick Resort Arena against the Sacramento Kings. It's Earl Watson's first official game as head coach after serving as interim coach for the final 33 games of last season. Watson is the NBA's first head coach of Hispanic descent. Reporter Giselle Cancio caught up with Watson to see how heritage has become a part of his game.
After the Suns fired Jeff Hornacek in February, Earl Watson was put to the test as an interim head coach to close out the season. Now he stands at the helm of Phoenix Suns basketball as the youngest coach in the league and the NBA's first Hispanic head coach.
I mean, I can't even put that into words. It's ineffable, the best way to describe it. It's just a proud moment. You know, it's not about me. It's about, you know, the chance and the opportunity that my grandfather took and the vision he had to just make his life better for his future children and his grandkids.
At 18 years old, his mom sent him from Kansas City to Los Angeles with $400 and a duffel bag. Little did he know that while he played at UCLA, he'd develop a significant relationship with legendary Bruins coach John Wooden.
Coach Wooden is just a special person, and I think that's why he transcends beyond sport. When I first came on campus, I met him in the office. He immediately captured my attention, captured my heart, and the rest was just me just trying to be a student of anything he spoke about.
Watson's Hispanic upbringing translates on the court with his hands-on approach to coaching. He says his family does everything together, and he plans on bringing that theme and motto to Phoenix Suns basketball.
I mean, if you check Suns Twitter or Snapchat that they have, I mean, we got yoga sessions we go to together. They go on hiking trips. So it's definitely a close-knit family, and I think that what he's trying to do is build that culture.
You know, Earl is, he's honest and direct. It's a combination of love and honesty and toughness, and I think and I hope that'll manifest itself in the way our team plays.
Watson has challenged his young roster to be 1% better than yesterday every day, as he says the growth over time will bring momentum to a team vying to make the playoffs for the first time in 7 years. In Phoenix, Giselle Cancio, Cronkite News.
After tonight's opener against the Kings, the Suns will visit one of Earl Watson's former teams Friday. Phoenix will play in Oklahoma City, where Watson played during the 2008 to 2009 season.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Now, here's an @Cronkite News Pick of the Week, a favorite from the Cronkite News staff.
For children diagnosed with serious illness, every treatment puts them to the test physically and emotionally. One organization is helping those children tell their stories and celebrate those milestones through Beads of Courage.
Whenever you get like chemotherapy, you get a needle poke, or stay in the hospital, you can look forward for a bead.
Abby Kuhnman is one of many children around the world who has received a bead every time she reaches a milestone in her battle with cancer through Beads of Courage.
My favorites are the bumpies because I like them. They're pretty, and I like the texture.
Over 60,000 children in 8 different countries receive beads through Beads of Courage to help them cope with their illness.
When you bear witness to courage every day, you want to acknowledge that. And so Beads came about as a way to acknowledge tangibly the courage that you witness every day.
The most special are handmade by bead artists, something that the organization needs more of.
So right now our organization is truly experiencing a bead shortage, which is frightening when you're Beads of Courage. We can't run out of beads.
Volunteers spend their time helping package the beads one by one. Abby not only wears the beads proudly, but she also spends some time helping send joy through beads to others.
It's cool to show your friends about all the different beads so they can look at it, so they can see what you did and all that stuff.
And even though Abby received her Purple Heart, meaning she's finished her cancer treatments, she wants others to be a part of Beads of Courage, just as much as she's been.
You can ask your nurse, your social worker, or your child life, or if the Beads of Courage people come in.
Cronkite News tracks your likes, tweets, and shares from all our social sites to bring you this news special. At Cronkite News, our weekly refresh. Join the conversation so you choose the news. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org for top Arizona stories anytime.
Explore worlds of wonder here on Arizona PBS, a viewer-supported community service of Arizona State University.